Welcome to Grapids. I'm your host, Tim Crawford. Today we've got a very special guest with us, Lori Kline Vorpi. Is that right? Or
Sure.
is it the other way?
Nope, that's right.
So she's the founder of Camo Companions, and we're here to find out about her organization. Welcome to our show, Lori.
Thank you.
How's it going today?
It's great. How are you?
Oh, sweaty. It's humid day here. So I see, how'd you come up with this idea for the Camo Companions?
Actually, it was kind of an evolution. So I started way back in the early 2000s working with different local rescues and shelters and CSNP, the low-cost spay and neuter group.
Sure.
And then I was always working with veterans as well, trying to find ways to help them sort of settle down their symptoms of post-traumatic stress after they come back to civilian life that were drug-free.
Oh.
So, and then in 2000, about 11 or 12, the idea sort of came to me that perhaps we should do these two things together. And I wouldn't be running quite so much because it would be one focus, one goal, and
Right.
helping animals and veterans at the same time.
It all wrapped up in a nice little package.
Exactly.
There. So what kind of process do you have for matching shelter dogs to veterans?
The first thing we do is have the veteran apply to our program. So,
Okay.
and our program is dual-fold, so we will talk about that when, if a veteran comes to us and they would like an emotional support companion animal, then we have them apply to the program and submit their DD-214, and we work with only honorably discharged veterans.
Okay.
So that's step one.
All right.
The next step is that they, our program manager will look through their application and find out where they live. Do they live in a community where there are breed bans? Do they live in a community where we have to have permission from an apartment complex owner or a trailer park or whatever? Do they have to have permission from a landlord in order to have a pet? So then we go down that whole next step of the process, making sure that they can have a pet where they live and that we can place one with them without issue. Then we sit down and meet with the veteran, a veteran member of our board of directors. We have 4 veterans that sit on our board, and our program manager will sit down and meet with them and then talk about what they're looking for. Their experience with pets, their lifestyle, do they work, do they stay home, do they isolate, do they have symptoms from their military service? You don't have to have a symptom
Right.
to join our program.
Sure.
But if you do, we want to talk about that. We want to talk about whether you have post-traumatic stress symptoms, whether you've had a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury, whether you have hypervigilance issues, which means you always want somebody behind your back. You're always on alert. Do you have anxiety, depression, any of those things? We just want to know about all those things so we can find the right pet to complement that.
Sure.
We do home visits. We sit down and get to know the veteran, and then we go from there. But the veteran comes to us first. The pet comes secondary.
Sounds like it goes through a lot. What about the dogs? What kind of, training and, characteristics are you go through to get a dog?
Well, those are all, again, individualized for the veteran.
Right.
So if the veteran tends to isolate, they don't like to go out in public, then we need to find a dog that's really a good homebody.
Sure.
Just wants to sit on the couch and do nothing. If I have a veteran who is helping to or trying to ameliorate the symptoms that he has because he's an avid runner, then I need to find a dog that's going to run.
Sure.
Or a veteran who loves to be on the water and has a boat. I need a dog that can swim.
Sure.
It's all completely individualized to the veteran.
Training for the dog?
And that, again, we have trainers, we pay our trainers, and we match our trainer based on geography, of course, so the veteran and the dog can get to the trainer, and then we provide the training as well.
Perfect. How about sharing a success story that you are particularly found? I knew you would like this question. There's
I have so many.
All right, you'll
All
have
right,
to pick
so-
one at
Okay,
least.
I'm going to pick my favorite story of, honestly, I love all the dogs, but my favorite was Odin.
Odin.
So here is the story. So my daughter-in-law, who is as sweet as she can be, in January of 2013, I believe, saw this black lab dog walking down the street out in Coral. Freezing cold, rain, dogs soaking wet. Well, she's not going to drive past the dog. She picks the dog up. She takes the dog home. She talks to her parents a little bit. Her mom and dad decide that they could foster the dog for a minute. She calls me, said, what's going on? Look, I've got this dog. He seems pretty great. I said, well, let's let your mom and dad keep him for a little bit, temperament test him, make sure he doesn't have any food aggression or anything. There's nothing going on. Sure enough, 2-3 days later, nothing there. This is going well.
Right.
So I had my first interview with a young man named Kurt, who subsequently has been calling me mom for
Oh, no.
a decade. So Kurt comes to the program. He's looking for a companion. I'm a huge believer in the universe. Things come together when they're
Sure.
supposed to.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, you know what? Let's go do this. So Kurt and I go over to my daughter-in-law's parents' house, and Kurt sits down on the couch, and Odin hops up on the couch and puts his head on his lap. Well, that was kind of a done deal. Like right then and there.
Sure.
This was meant to be. Kurt takes Odin home. No worries. 2 days later, he calls me. He says, Lori, my girlfriend does not like this dog. I said, okay, are you sure? You don't want to do some training with Odin, with her and her dog and all of you guys together? He said, no, I have to bring him back to you. I said, okay, it's fine. Bring him back to me.
Sure.
Maybe 20 hours later, Kurt called me back and said, he's coming to get his dog. He got rid of the girlfriend.
Oh, well, that's...
And Odin was our ambassador for our program for 10 years. We lost him last year. Yeah, it was hard, but boy, he was everything you'd ever want in a companion dog. So Kurt actually now sits on my board of directors as well. So
Perfect.
I've come a long way, but that's our Odin story.
Nice. That's a wonderful story. So what are the main challenges you face running this nonprofit? I guess I mean, I'm sure there's several, but fundraising is always hard, I'm sure, and then events and that type of thing. So
Right. Well, we have great community support. You know, we've received 2 Meyer Give Back awards, which is a $5,000 donation,
nice.
and that's where the teams of Meyer vote. And the Alpine store gave us one, and the Rockford store just gave us one. So I mean, we're really blessed with a lot of support like that. Harbor Freight is a huge supporter of us. Home Depot, Lowe's, Pet Supplies Plus, they donate food, poop scoops, anything that they have that's extra in Pet Supplies Plus. They send that stuff up to us by the really
Truckload.
truckload, literally. So our veterans pantry is always full of supplies that our veterans can come and get. So I don't know. I mean, so fundraising is not. I wouldn't call it a challenge. It's just an ongoing thing that we have to do.
Sure.
We are a nonprofit. We don't get grants. We don't get anything unless we raise the money ourselves. And we're very careful about that because we're very conscious of what it means. Our donors give us money. We use it properly.
right.
So that's one thing. Obviously, dealing with veterans and animals, there's a lot of personalities there, but that's why we have a board of directors and we have a program manager who is a paid employee. She works in our office,
Sure.
so that she makes sure that our program runs smoothly and everything that we need to address gets done.
How has Canine Companions evolved since it started? I mean, it must have grown.
Oh, we have grown and we have changed and we have implemented changes based on things that we've seen. You know, it started off pretty simple. My sweet friend Madeline and I decided we were going to just kind of do this. So I was working with veterans and she was good in the shelters and working with the rescues and finding the right dogs. And honestly, it was really simple. We just started matching dogs with veterans. We didn't have, back then when we started, we didn't have what we have now. We didn't have a pantry. We didn't have access to discount stuff. We just didn't have any of that. So, but, 11, 12 years later, yeah, it's a whole different gig.
What was the most rewarding part with this organization? Like Odin, working with the people like that, is that probably the best part? Or
Finding the right match is super rewarding. But I will tell you that there was an outcome that I did not foresee when I started doing this. When we started having fundraisers and all of our veterans came together with their dogs, I watched the veterans interact in this really amazing fellowship of love for their animals. And that was an amazing byproduct of support, that the veterans got to know other veterans that loved animals. So they didn't have camaraderie anymore. We're talking about so much, what they'd been through, like you would if you were in a VA group or something along those lines. But now they just get together and they talk about their dogs.
Perfect.
So that, to see something that wasn't even meant to be, come to be, was amazing.
Oh, excellent. Now you have a big event coming up next month, right?
We do, Harvest Fest in Rockford. So I've been hosting car shows on and off for about 30 years. So, and our biggest fundraising event in the community is Harvest Fest. So we kind of take over downtown Rockford. We'll have the car show itself. We have the green space in downtown Rockford where we'll have helicopters from the military that will be landing on the green space. We will have a concert with the Grand Rapids Symphony and the Army's 126th Band, and they'll be doing a mashup concert, so that's super fun. We have music all over town. We have awards. What else do we do? There's a tractor parade. There's a scarecrow building thing. Harvest Fest in Rockford is so much fun.
And that's going to be September 23rd?
It is. It is.
Perfect.
The cars usually start arriving before it even gets light out, but the show itself starts at 10 with our awards at 2. And then, but there's stuff in town all day long. The chili cook-off, Bloody Mary bars, beer tents, music. It is a great time in Rockford.
Perfect. So if you guys are around and want to get to this Harvest Fest and support our local canine companions, that would be a great deal. Anything else that we should talk about before we go?
Oh, this is awesome.
This was awesome. Well, I'm sweating like a pig, but it's been pretty fun so far. Any last message you'd like to share with veterans who might be considering adopting a pet companion through your program?
Oh, absolutely. So first of all, you can just call our program. Our number is 616-970-0234. If you're computer savvy, hop on our website at caninecamocompanions.com, and that's the letter K, the number 9, camocompanions.com. You'll see a little apply on the other side, and you can apply to become a member and for us to help find an animal for you. If you already have a dog, which we actually didn't even talk about that, if you already have a dog, you can still join our program. We offer ongoing support through our pet pantry. We offer half-price flea and tick medicine, and we do have some funding to stipend some dog training. If you're just having one or two little issues with the pup you already own and you love, we're happy to help out with a little extra training to see if we can't make that relationship even better.
Perfect. Lori, thanks so much for coming on my show and being my first real guest. I've done this with my father a couple of times. See if we can make it work.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you. All right, everyone, that was Lori Vorpi, and that's Grapids Cast's first show, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.